Welcome to my humble couch and living room, the home of Mayhem Baits and the Arizona Desert Fisherman channel. I just wanted to do a quick video today. A viewer actually sent me a message on Facebook last week, and I've seen the message before, so I figured it would be a good chance to talk about it because I am definitely going to be trying to upload more videos. Everybody out there is saying that with YouTube's new algorithm, you have to post a video every single day to matter in this world at all, which really actually kind of sucks, because some of us can't be like the top guys and just quit our jobs and live off of YouTube alone. I wish I could, because it'd be a lot easier. But regardless, gonna try to do videos every day. So I got a message about this wonderful scar right here. I'll give you guys a close up. I hope, I don't know, there might not be able to see it too good, but it is right here in this area. Kind of looks like a scyther from the Reaper and a rocket ship right next to it. I always thought that was kind of funny and cool. The viewer asked me what happened because he saw it and, he was just curious. And like I said, I've seen the message before. I've had quite a few of them. When I was 13 years old, I think I was 13 because I was in 7th or 8th grade. My mother went out for a bit. It was just me and my sister at home. That was back in the day when two children could stay at home by themselves and not burn the house down or go across the street and hit cars with rocks and stuff like that. Although, I believe we got busted doing that once or twice, but we learned. Like I said, we were home alone and I had gone out front to throw something away or something. And on my way back in the house, we had kind of a porch, if you'll call it, an indoor porch, almost like an indoor patio. So we had our actual screen door, and then, we had a little room right there that was cement floor. That's where we put like our garbage can and recycling bin. We had the mailbox in there. And then we had our actual front door that led into the kitchen. So I was in there and I went to push on the front door to open it and get inside the house. My sister was on the other side of the door, and not knowing that I was trying to push the door open, she shut the door. And my arm went straight through the window and the glass. Obviously, the glass tore everything up. I had a few cuts on my hand, but those were minor. The glass tore everything up in this area all the way to the bone. The skin was hanging down, the tendons were hanging down, obviously it was bleeding. And this was before, believe it or not, before the time of cell phones. They were out, but not everybody had a cell phone. So it was a little tricky and a little difficult here, because I knew in my head that this was obviously something serious. I was old enough to comprehend that. As I was bleeding, I started getting more lightheaded. So my sister ran over to the neighbor's house and grabbed him, and thankfully he was in the military at some point in his life. I believe he might have been something else with medical. I'm not sure. I don't remember correctly. But he came over and immediately put a tourniquet on my arm. So I'm sitting there and everything's still hanging out and I'm still bleeding a little bit, getting more lightheaded and dizzy. And then the pain starts to come through because, when you first get injured, especially like that, in a traumatic injury, a serious injury, you have so much adrenaline built up in your body from that what the heck just happened feeling. Sorry, I have some lint balls on my shirt. You have so much adrenaline going through your body that it doesn't hurt right away. So the pain started to come through, and I was only 13 years old. I did not handle it well at all. So finally, because we had no idea exactly where my mother was at the time. She could have been in one of a few spots, I'm not sure, or we weren't sure. So my neighbor actually called my grandparents, and they came down to the house. And so my neighbor stayed back with my sister. My cousins came over to watch her, and my grandparents took me up to the hospital. I remember getting to the hospital and showing them my arm, telling them what happened. They took a little squeeze bottle of water and went in there with it because there was shattered glass dust in there still. And I just remember laying there bleeding and nothing was happening. And I looked at the nurse and I said, well, what's going on? What are we doing? Because literally I was just laying there bleeding in a bed. And she said, oh, well, you just got done eating before this happened, so we can't do anything yet. I still to this day will never understand that, okay? But regardless, a little while later, I got some IVs, got everything like that, and my mother showed up at the hospital. Obviously she was really, really scared. And all I remember was her coming in the room, looking at me, and then I fell asleep. They put me under, went back and did surgery. They had to stitch up all of the veins and all of the tendons and everything that I cut through and destroyed on the inside first, and all of the muscle. And I had all kinds of disposable stitches, or dissolvable stitches, excuse me, in there. And those were really uncomfortable because some of them started coming out from the scar when I was healing. I had a whole lot of stitches here that were really uncomfortable to get out. And then I woke up later that night and I talked to my mom and my grandma, and we didn't even talk about anything that happened. It was just a normal conversation, and I remember talking to them for about an hour. And then the next morning, I was released and we went on with our lives. Now to this day, I have no feeling right here in my forearm just because of the nerve damage, especially right here in my elbow. It's one of those spots, so it was definitely a scary situation for all of us, but if my sister wouldn't have acted, and my neighbor and my grandparents wouldn't have acted while my mother was gone, it definitely would have ended a different way, So that's just a little advice for all of you in case, God forbid, there ever is a nasty situation like that. Don't panic and freak out in your head like I was, because truthfully I was 13 years old. I was screaming, I was bleeding, and stuff was hanging out of my arm. I was freaking out. Don't do it. Somebody around you, just stay calm and figure it out like everybody did. Everybody helped me, and I'm still here. So there's the story, guys. Now hopefully that clears the air. Anytime you see my monstrous ugly scar, there you go. Thanks for tuning in.